friends, welcome to my YouTube channel, and in this video I am going to explain about layer architecture or the layered models. And in my earlier videos I have discussed about the introduction. If you have not watched it, please go and watch. Starting with reasons that why we require layered protocols. So protocols is defined as set of rules in the communication system. It defines how the data needs to be transmitted and received. So what are the reasons? Simplifies the design process as a function of each layers and their interactions are well defined. So if we already know that while transmission of communication system, we first have to send the destination address, then we have to we first have to send the destination address, then we have to send the data, then we have to send first we have to send the destination address, then we have to send the data, then we have to send the error correction. So the if this format is already mentioned, then it is very easy for the sender to send and as well as for receiver to understand. So this is the reason why layered protocols are used. Then it provides flexibility to modify and develop new services for all network. Lower layers offer some services to its upper layers. Then we have addition of new services and management. A network infrastructure becomes easy, so it becomes easy for us to manage the whole communications. Then it is possible to break difficult problems into smaller and more manageable tasks. Then there are with so many advantages also comes some disadvantages, like lose touch with reality. Layering is kind of hiding information, results in poor performance. Sometimes the layered architecture results in poor performance. Then we have what are the design issues or what are the functions of layered protocol. So for starting with addressing, since there are many possible destinations for packets, some form of addressing is needed in order to specify a specific destination. Obviously in real life also, when we need to send some things or we need to send something to our friend. If I want to gift my friend something, I have to write his or her home's address in my gift packet, and then I have to send it. So addressing, that we need to mention where we want to send the data, therefore addressing is very important. Then we have direction of transmission. Depending on the ability of the system to communicate in one way or both the direction, the communication systems are classified as simplex, half duplex and full duplex. In detail, these three types of communications are already explained in my earlier video. Then we have error control. In error control, physical communication channels can introduce errors in data traveling on them. Receiver should be able to tell if it has received correct message or not. So this so when a data is transmitted, then it from the sender to receiver, it travels in a communication medium. So this communication medium, the data suffers various types of problems, such as it gets interacted with EM waves, electromagnetic waves, and various other factors which can introduce errors in the data, and therefore the receiver should be able to tell if it has received correct message or not. Then we have avoid loss of sequencing. If I have sent data like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then receiver should not receive the data in the order 5, 4, 2, 1, 3. Then the whole meaning of this data will be lost, and therefore sequencing is very important in communication. This is achieved with the help of layered architecture. Then we have ability of receiving long messages. This is done with the help of fragmentation, that whenever receiver wants to send a long message, it fragments it, that is, it divides it into small packets and then sends the small packets one by one to use multiplexing and demultiplexing. Then we have a lack of resources in the communication field, like we have limited bandwidth, and thus we need to use multiplexing and demultiplexing. So this is the very first layered architecture, that is the OSI model. So in OSI model, there are 7 layers. There are 7 layers. The first layer is physical layer, The second is data link layer. The third is network layer. Then we have transport layer. Then we have session layer. Then we have app presentation layer. And then we have application layer. So this is the model OSI model, which has 7 layers, starting with first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. The function of each of this we will learn in the and this layer provides services to upper layer, this layer provides services to this layer provides services to this. So in this way communication goes, service goes. Okay, so starting with the first layer, physical layer. So the function of the physical layer is to activate, maintain and deactivate physical connections, to define voltages, data rates needed for transmission. So the physical layer, it defines the voltages and the data rates to convert digital data bits into electrical signals. Now, for suppose if I have data in the form of 0, 1, 0, 1, this form of data cannot be transmitted in a communication channel. So the physical layer converts this into 0 volt, 5 volt, 0 volt and 5 volt. This signal can be transmitted in physical data, and the function of converting from this to this is done with the help of physical layer. Moving on to the next layer, we have data link layer. So functions of data link are synchronization and error control for the information which is to be transmitted over the physical link. So data link layer helps in synchronization and error control for information. To enable the error detection, it adds error detection bits. The extra error detection bits are also called as parity bits, the data which is to be transmitted. Network layer. So in network layer, to route the signals, the function of network layer is to route the signals. It guides the signal that which path it has to select, to act as network controller by guiding the routes, to divide the outgoing messages into packets and to assemble incoming packets into the message for higher levels. So as I have mentioned, the fragmentation is done and defragmentation is done with the help of network layers. Moving on to the next layer, we have transport layer. It does the functions such as multiplexing, splitting or segmenting on the data. This is also called as the heart of the OSI model. Then transport layer guarantees the transmission of data from one end to the other. Then we have session layer, presentation layer and application layer. These 3 layers are also called as the software layers, and while these 3 layers are called as the hardware layers. And then we have session layer. User will establish system to system connection, controls logging on and off, user identification, billing and session management. So a session layer manages like if the service can be provided to us or not. Then we have presentation layer. This layer makes it sure that information is delivered in such a form that the receiving system will able to understand it and use it. So if I have sent the data in the form of like A, B, C, D and user is not able to understand it, then the presentation layer will convert that data into such a form that it is understandable to the receiver. Then we have application layer. It provides services such as manipulation of information into various ways, retransferring the files of information, distributing the results. So this the topic I have explained is based on if the question is asked for 4 marks, then we can write this much. Now if the question is asked for 7 marks, then we have to write this, that is the exchange of information using OSI model. Now we will understand how the information is exchanged using OSI model. So the physical layer, starting with the physical layer, to define the type of encoding. to like which type of encoding we have to use to define the transmission rate at 1 mbps, 2 mbps. What is the transmission rate to deal with synchronization of transmitter and receiver? Like if the transmission rate of receiver is 10 and sender is 9, then this physical layer deals with the synchronization. Then it deals with the network connection type. If the network is the point to point, it is multi-point or like that wise. And to deal with the media bandwidth, if bandwidth is low, high, then the physical layer changes the signal accordingly. Then we have data link layer. The first function of data link layer is framing. The bits received from the network layer, that is the layer above the data link layer, that is network layer, are divided into another type of data units called as frames. So the network layer are divided into the another type of service provided by data link layer is flow control. Provides flow mechanism to avoid fast transmitter from overrunning a low receiver by buffering the extra bits. For suppose if I have a sender and a receiver, if a sender sends at a rate of say 10 mbps, that is 10 mbps, that is 10 units per second, and if the receiver receives at only 5 units per second, so the extra bits will be reserved in the buffer of the receiver, and it will send it to the buffer will store it, and then it will send it to the receiver at its own speed. So this is a flow control. Then we have physical addressing. Adds header to the frame, which consists of physical address of the sender receiver of that frame. So it adds the physical address, it adds a header which consists the physical address. Then we have error control. A tailor is added at the end in order to achieve error control. So the data link and the physical layer consists of like this frame, and one header h1 is added in the data link layer, and one tailor is added. This header is the physical address and the tailor is the error control bits. Then access control. Function of determining which device has the control over the link at any given time when two or more devices are connected on the same link. So it determines which device, if there are, for suppose 3 devices connected to a link, then this access control determines that whether the frame sent has the access to is access to 2, it has access to 3 or 3. So this is the function. Then there are 2 sublayers of logical sublayers of this access control, that is logical link control and medium access control, that is also called as MAC. Then we have network layer. It translates the logical network address into physical machine address. So logical network address, you will study in the future, that what is logical network and what is physical address. Then we have logical address and physical address. Determine quality of service by deciding priority of the messages, and routing of message will take place. So quality of services are the various parameters using which we decide the priority of the messages. It breaks the larger packets into smaller packets, smaller one if it is not acceptable. So the fragmentation is done by network layer. Routers and gateways operate in the network layer. Then we have transport layer. It divides the message at the source, reassembles them at the destination. Then the transport layer is capable of either connectionless and the connection oriented transfer of data. It performs end-to-end flow control, and that's why it is called as heart of the OSI model. Make sure that entire message arrives at the receiving transport without an error. Then we have session layer. Allows the system to start a dialogue, synchronization, exchange of messages between 2 inserted systems called as dialogue. Dialogue control and dialogue separation. In dialogue control and separation, it is the checking of status of the two machines at the same point in the time. If receiver is busy or it is free, and if the sender is busy or it's free, these are the various status that is checked by the session layer. Then we moving on to the next layer, we have presentation layer. So the in presentation layer we have translation, that is at the sending end converts the information into a common format, and the presentation layer at the receiving end will convert this common format into the one which is compatible to the receiver. So this is translation, that is the converting of information into a common format and then converting back to the format in which the receiver or a device or the sender is compatible. Then we have encryption. Encryption is basically jumbling of the data in order to provide specific authentication to only specific users. So this is done for the security purpose. Encryption is carried out in the encryption process. In the encryption process, the sender transforms the original information into other form in the jumbled form and then sends the transformed messages. So with the help of encryption, more security is provided to the data. So in compression, the data compression technique is used for reducing the number of bits required to send an info, because obviously information with large amount of bits is not recommended. Then moving on to the application layer, we have, it allows the creation of a virtual terminal, which is software version of the physical terminal. It allows a user to access, retrieve, manage or control the files in the remote computer. So this is the basic functioning of application layer. It creates a forwarding and storage emails. So these are the 7 layers of the OSI model and their functioning. And moving on to the merits of the reference model. Its protocols in the OSI model are better hidden. So it provides a kind of security. Then OSI model is truly general model. Any devices can be made compatible to the OSI reference model. It supports connection oriented as well as connectionless service. So it can be used even in the LAN, or it can be used in WAN. Then we have there are some obviously demerits of OSI model, that is session and presentation layer are not of much use. And then we have, in real life there is a problem of fitting protocols into a model. Then we have, moving on to the next, we have TCP/IP model. This is transfer control protocol, internet protocol model. So this model is generated to overcome the demerits of the OSI model. So it has only 4 layers, that is host to network layer. The host has to connect a network using some protocol, so it can send the IP packets over it. Then we have internet layer. This layer is called as internet layer and it holds the whole architecture together. So this is the functioning, that it holds the whole architecture together. The task is to allow host to insert packets into the network and then make them travel independently to the destination. So it allows the host to enter a particular packet into the network layer and then make it travel independently to the destination. Then we have a transport layer. This is very similar to that of in the OSI model, that is it allows peer entities of the source and destination machines to converse with each other. It allows a byte stream transmitted from one machine to be delivered to the other machine without introducing any errors. TCP also handles flow control. This is very similar to that of the used in OSI model. And then we have application layer. This layer consists of various protocols such as DNS, HTTP, FTP. Regarding these protocols in detail, we will study in our future lectures. Now we will come to discuss about the differences between OSI model. The first is that it has 7 layers, it has 4 layers. It guarantees delivery of packet. It does not guarantee that your packet will be delivered. It is horizontal approach, it is vertical approach. It has a separate session layer and no session layer. Similarly, it has presentation layer. It does not has presentation layer. It can be connectionless as well as connection oriented, whereas TCP model cannot operate in connection oriented. It can only be operated for connectionless, and hence it is also called as general model. Then it is see, this is the next, very next, general model and not used for any other applications. Then a problem of filling into model does not fit into any other stack. Then now we will study about what are the various kinds of addressing. So first is MAC address. It is also called as physical address. Then media access control address, and it is also called as physical address. It is a local address, that is, it is unique locally but not universally. Like if I am having an address of ABC, so this address will not be the address of any other device in a particular city or a particular state, but the same address can be accessed by other device in other country or other continent. So this kind of address is called as MAC address. The size and the format of physical address varies depending on the nature of network. So if the network is point to point, then the size and the format of the address varies. Then we have next, moving on to the next address, we have logical address, also called as IP address. This is the physical address. Then we have logical address. So in logical address, it required to facilitate universal communication. This is used for local communication, physical address, and logical address is required for universal communication. A packet starts from the source host, passes through many physical networks, and finally reaches the destination host. This is because it is used universal communication and it has to travel large area, and therefore we need to pass it through various physical networks. Then we have host and routers are recognized by their IP addresses or logical addresses. Then we have port addresses. The process need addresses. The label assigned to a process is called as port address. So address of a process is called as port address, and it is not of variable length, but it is a fixed 16-bit address. And then last we have specific address, email addresses, or universal resource locators, that is URL. These are the specific addresses. Thank you.